Hello and welcome to We Random episode 50. Can you believe it, B? Episode 50. We're recording live August 24th, 2021. You know, B, I was thinking about getting a new haircut, but I'm going to mull it over. We'll be back in a second.
Almost Qualified Productions. We're 3 beers in. Time for you to catch up.
Welcome to We Random, episode 50. I'm Brian.
50.
That's Christopher. Say hello to the people, Christopher.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Now, is this like the golden episode because the episode number matches your birthday, or kind of what are we going with here?
Wait, how is this our birthday? What are you talking about?
That's the joke.
Trying to say I'm 50 years old?
That's the joke.
Oh, well, we need to wait till episode 73 before we can do that.
Well, there is that.
Yeah.
I mean, at least that's what Sconzi's Tinder will tell you. However, we don't need to get into that tonight, although we might get into Sconzi's OnlyFans, or we might talk about Tim Tebow, or we might talk about lots of other things. So, as you, loyal listeners, know, we have our Wheel of Doom, and our Wheel of Doom is going to tell us which topic to talk about. And for those of you who are new, hello, and welcome to the madness.
Absolutely.
All right. Do you have any words of wisdom, fun facts, or other trinkets for our listening and viewing audience before we go ahead and jump into these wonderful topics today?
No, I got nothing. You know, one of these weeks I'm going to have a pearl of wisdom for you.
I mean, the last time you had a pearl of wisdom, it basically was...
It was Mr. Rhythm.
It was Mr. Rhythm.
Yeah, if you don't know who Mr. Rhythm is, just Google Mr. Rhythm DC Cab. That's all you need to know. I'm spinning a wheel. We're going to start with your favorite person, B.
Oh, are we talking about the podcast's favorite old friend, the bad person?
The bad person, indeed.
So, as those of you who have listened to the podcast before know, Donald Trump has been a central character in our podcast, and today, Donald Trump is back. So, at a rally in Alabama, Donald Trump was booed for encouraging attendees to take the COVID vaccine. Trump said, "I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. You got to do what you got to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good," he said, eliciting brief boos from the rally supporters. Trump added, "You've got your freedoms, but I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know. But it is working. You have your freedoms and you have to maintain that." So this was interesting to me on a couple of levels because one, this is one of the primary outward endorsements, I guess you could say, of the vaccine. It was definitely done kind of in his Trump way, which is like, you say this, but you also say this other thing. So the people who want to hear what they're going to hear can hear what they're going to hear. But I thought it was very interesting, and kind of the way that this struck me is that we've gone so far as a society where people are literally taking the whole anti-vax thing into their central core of character. Like people are basically doing this like a sporting event. Like he was up there saying I'm here in Alabama and I think that we should root for the Florida Gators. And people were like, boo, fuck that. But then he kind of went.
Uh-oh. We lost B. I don't know if it's me or if it's B. Is my stream still going?
That's literally where I'm here.
We lost you. We lost you for a second. But you're back. But you're back.
Good for me.
Yeah, so to your point, this is typical politics. It's not just typical Trump, it's typical politics, right? You want to talk out both sides of your face because that way you're appealing to everybody. It is a little odd that he's taking the stance, but I mean, let's be honest. He's testing the waters to run for president again, and at some point you need to kind of straddle that line a little bit because there's a lot of people who are upset about the way that he handled this whole COVID thing. So it makes sense for him to dabble into that. Plus, the people who support him are going to support him no matter what the hell he says or does. Like, he could murder a baby on live television and they would still fucking vote for this guy. So he can't really piss them off. So you might as well try to pull in some of those fringe people a little bit if you can. That's all this is. It's a political thing. Although, in an unrelated but kind of related note is, one of the biggest things that these individuals, and by these individuals I'm talking about, those far right, conspiracy theory, those people. One of the biggest things that they kind of trumpeted as one of their big calling cards is, this vaccine's not FDA approved. Aha! And now it is. So now they'll pick something else, and they'll choose some other mountain to die on. But slowly their stuff's getting chipped away, right? It's now the vaccine is FDA approved, and now Trump's telling you to take the vaccine. Like, pretty soon, and I feel for them. I'm being sincere. I feel for these people, because pretty soon all of their excuses are going to get whittled away, and maybe, just maybe, they're going to have to sit there in their trailer park and look themselves in the mirror and say, God, I really am a fucking idiot. Now, I don't know if they're going to do that, but they might. Anyway, that's just my take on it.
Well, I don't know. That's why I said this very much strikes me as like sports fanism, because they're literally taking these things into their core and not looking at anything else. It's
It
kind
is.
of like that whole thing. It's like where you have a player on your team that's super kind of aggressive, and people are like, if he's not on my team, I hate him, but if he's on my team, I love him. Like
Right.
that kind of thing. Or, I just thought that this was really interesting, because rarely, if ever, has Trump's base like not eaten up everything that he has to say, right?
Yeah.
Or, one of the things that a lot of folks in that area do is it's like they literally will play to the party line, where it's like, I know that this is wrong, but I'm still going to play it to the party line
Mm-hmm.
because that's what we do. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting.
It is interesting for sure. Like, it's kind of a non-news story, but it is a little bit of a news story when you kind of look a little bit below the surface. But
Yeah.
enough of that jackhole. Let's move on. Instead, let's talk about this jackhole, Afghanistan. This is a huge fucking story. Like, there's a lot of facets to this thing.
There are. And like
But
I honestly didn't know where to start with this, but I felt like it deserved to be talked about in some way, right? Because this is a huge, huge kind of story right now. So, for those of you who have not been kind of paying attention to the news, more than a week after the Taliban takeover of Kabul and Afghanistan, the situation at the capital's airport has become increasingly desperate, as the fate of many Afghans who worked with foreign governments remains uncertain. So, President Biden had admitted that there are discussions about extending the August 31st U.S. withdrawal deadline, and Afghan visa applicants were told to stay away from the airport as the U.S. races to meet all of its exit deadlines and evacuating the US and NATO citizens. So I just thought this was a very interesting thing to kind of look at, because I don't even know what to say about it, right? Because we've been kind of in this holding pattern for 20 years
yeah.
with Afghanistan, and like trying to like help them and support their people. And then over these past, 4 or 5 or whatever, however many years, there's been that pressure of like, let's get our troops out and like let them be them. And all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, now we're tapering things down. And then like here comes the Taliban to go, nope, we're coming in and we're taking stuff over. But then it's like they're saying one thing where they're like, oh no, we're gonna be peaceful, and women will still have their rights to do things under the Lord of God or whatever. There was a quote that I sent you that one time. But then it's like, also there's reports out there that they're like mailing letters to people that are like, you have been sentenced to death. So it's like,
I haven't heard that one.
yeah, there was one guy who he was the brother of an interpreter who worked with like US and Afghan forces, and he got like a letter to appear in court, and then like he didn't appear in court, so now they've like sent him a letter to say, we're sentencing you to death, and when we find you, we're going to kill you, basically.
Oh, well, it seems like a very nice government.
So
Yeah, this topic is so many layers deep, and like you said, it's like 20 years in the making. So there's no way we can cover all this, and I sure as hell am not an expert at all on all the goings on. But I read a couple of different articles in prep for this, and I guess we start with the most immediate news story, the one that everyone kind of knows about or probably is hearing about in the news, which is, you know, all these Afghan cities have fallen. Biden made the decision that we're pulling people out. We're done. We're done with the Afghanistan thing. The Taliban came into town and now they're taking everything over. You've got all these people rushing to the airport trying to get the hell out of the country because they fear what's going to happen now that the Taliban's back and they're in control. The Taliban's trying to play all hunky-dory and they're like, oh yeah, women are fine. They can hang out and do their thing. But damn well that that's not going to be the case. They've already started to put out messages that Afghan people are not allowed to leave. Like, if you're an American citizen, yeah, you can go through the 31st, and then they'll probably kill everybody if they even make it that far. But if you're an Afghan, you're not allowed to leave. They especially are talking about people who are learned individuals who are, scholars or educators or scientists. You're not allowed to leave. You need to stay here. So like, their first message was kind of one of inclusion and openness, and then slowly it's the fucking Taliban. I mean, what do you expect, right? Like if the devil comes to Georgia and says, "Hey, I just want to play around and have a good time," no, he's trying to fucking kill you. That's what the devil does. So this whole thing is a complete disaster, and I don't know that Biden handled it the right way or not. I'm not an expert on international relations and all that, but like, for the last 3-4 presidents they've all said, and they've all campaigned on, we're going to get out of Afghanistan, and no one ever did, right? And Biden's like, we're going to fucking do it. Let's do it. Hell the consequences. We're getting out of here. So I don't know that that's the right course of action. I mean, my very, very uneducated opinion, like, our problem shouldn't have been to just take over and Afghanistan. It should have been to eliminate the fucking Taliban, right? Like, those are the bad guys. Let's get rid of those guys. Instead, now we're pulling back and we're letting them have the place. Like, it's what?
well, and like the whole thing is, this is a long range, kind of like you said, it's a long range thing, and this is one of the things that even like Trump has said, like, I started the process of getting people out. Like, there's nothing that anybody could have done to stop this process at this point, right? But it's like, people want to blame Biden, but it's like, okay, there's a lot more than U.S. troops there. There's,
Sure.
International forces. There's the Afghan forces. There's, it's just a very strange thing. And I honestly think about the state of our country, and it's like, could, our people rise up? Like the anti-mask,
Right.
vax people be like, we're taking our country back. And like, could that be something that happens here, right? Like, if you see it there, why couldn't it happen here?
Oh, it could.
Like, and that's scary if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
But it's just very interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And I'm hopeful that there is some sort of positive resolution for people. Obviously, you can tell by how many people are trying to flee, and you see the pictures and
Yeah.
videos of people like climbing planes and like hanging onto planes, where it's like, that you're gonna die in flight because you're not inside the plane, but you still feel like that's a better choice than staying where you are. Like, that is
Yeah.
just a very scary and humbling experience to see as an outsider, right? But I don't know. It's just it, I don't know what to say about it, because again, like, we live in a country where people are complaining about not wearing a mask, and these people are living in a country
Right.
where
Right.
people literally are saying, I'm going to kill you for helping somebody that's not us.
Yeah. So Mouse is right. People storming the Capitol was a small taste of what we could see in this country, right? The long and short of it is, it's the Taliban. A whole bunch of people are going to die. That's what's going to happen. I mean, I hate to say it. I don't want to be a horrible person, but that's what's going to happen. They're going to kill people. Women aren't going to be allowed to work. Women are going to get, killed. You could have guys who are getting killed because they're helping the wrong person. That's what they do. That's who they are. And that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. And hopefully we can, stop. I mean, we could stop it all. Let's be honest. We really, really wanted to, right? Like, we could stop it all one way or another, even if you go to extreme lengths. We could stop it all. Well, but we're not going to. We're out of here.
And that's the whole thing. It's like it becomes this weird, like, if America just goes in and says, all right, we're going to stop it all, it's like, then are you any better than these other people, right? Because you're coming in and you're like, that's always kind of been the existential debate of like world politics when it comes to wars and things like that, right? Because I don't know, it's just, I don't know much about it, but it interests me, if that makes sense.
I look at it the same way, we may talk about with one of these other stories here is if you're actively
Is it Ivan Drago?
If you're pretty much, if you are actively looking at harming other people, if you are actively trying to harm other people, I got nothing for you. And the Taliban has shown time and time again that's what they're about, right? So if that means we go in there and we kill a bunch of these fuckers who want to kill other people, okay, not even want to, but they are killing other people. Okay. Like, am I supposed to feel bad about that? Because I don't. Maybe that makes me an asshole, but I don't feel bad about that. Now, obviously, there'd be a bunch of collateral damage, and there's a lot more to it than just that. But the sad part is there's going to be a lot more people dying, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what we brought to you, but I wanted to talk about it, so we talked about it.
All right. Do we have anything happy and exciting to talk about here? Like Tim Tebow?
Is that happy? I mean, I don't know. Some people are sad. Your friend who you've removed from your wall is very sad. All right. So, the Jacksonville Jaguars released quarterback turned tight end Tim Tebow recently, ending Tebow's hopes of rejoining the NFL as a tight end. Jaguars coach Urban Meyer said a big reason for Tebow's release was his inability to play special teams. Meyer said, 2 of the special teams phases are tackling, and if you've never tackled, it's not easy to do. Every day we'll have a 2 to 3 hour meeting about roster management, and we expect to be very good in special teams. The tight end position is one of those positions where if you can't contribute on special teams, that's a tough go. So I think that this is interesting, and Tim Tebow's one of those people that gets everybody fired up for whatever reason. Like, whenever his name comes up, everybody has something to say, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So people were all fired up about this. My thought generally is, cool, you tried, kudos, give you the Barry Horowitz pat on the back, see you later, player. Because, he just did not have the skills to play this position, and that's fine. And the most unfortunate part about this is he took a roster spot in snaps from somebody else who could have actually developed into a legitimate NFL player.
I mean, you could argue that he could develop into a legitimate NFL. I mean, he was a legitimate NFL player. So I don't know that I like that argument, but here I'm going to take a different take on this.
I mean, he's a 35-year-old man, or however old he is, that hasn't been in the league for X number of years, and they're giving him tight end snaps over guys on that roster who are probably much younger and could develop as to where he.
How many 6 string tight ends do you know that do anything? Exactly, none. Nobody does. He's not taking it. The only position he's taken is some dude who's bagging groceries 2 weeks earlier than he would have been otherwise. I'm going to take a completely different approach on this, and I say fucking good on you, Tim Tebow. Because how many of us have dreams, crazy ass dreams that don't make no sense, and we just say, there's no way I can do it. I'm not even going to do it. And here's Tim Tebow, who Brian thinks doesn't even deserve to sniff a jockstrap of the 6 string tight end in Jacksonville.
I did not say that, by the way.
And he's out there and doing this, right? And did he come into it because he had relations? Well, that sounds weird. Because he had a prior relationship with the coach? Sure. But shit, I got the job that I've got because I had a prior relationship with the person who was hiring for it. Does that mean I'm an asshole? No, it means I took advantage of relationships that I had. Like, this is a guy who had a dream to go out and try to be an NFL player, just like he had a dream to go out and try to be a minor league baseball player, just like he had a dream to try to be an NFL quarterback initially. And he went out there and he tried to do it. And I'm sorry, but that's fucking inspiring. And anybody who thinks it isn't probably has their head up their ass as far as I'm concerned. So I'm looking at this as much more of a positive. Now, was there ever a chance that he was going to make the roster? Not really. I mean, there's always a chance because Urban Meyer is dirty as hell. So it's possible that he would pull the strings that he needs to make that happen. But like to your point, like when you're playing he's not going to be a starting tight end, which means you're going to have to be able to play special teams, which you can't do. You're going to have to be able to block to be a tight end, which he's not going to be able to do. You're going to have to be able to catch, which he might not be able to do that either. So like the odds of him making the team were incredibly stacked. I'm sure Urban Meyer knew that when he took the team. Whether Urban Meyer had some ulterior motive or not, I don't know. And I don't know that it matters. It may have been as simple as Tebow saying, "Hey, I really want to give this a shot. Can you help me out?" And Urban Meyer's like, "Sure, let's go ahead and try."
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Urban Meyer is a multi-millionaire for a lot of reasons, but one big reason is Tim Tebow. So he owes him a little bit.
Well, and it gives them good press in the sense of, again, when Tim Tebow's name comes up, people pop ratings. Like, people want to know, what's he doing? Where's he at? Why is he doing this? Like, he's a popular person. So there's no, risk to them because, like you said, it's not one of those things where, this dude who's like sixth on the depth chart, all of a sudden could he become an all-star? Maybe. Is the likelihood that he's going to become an all-star, it's just one of those things where I can see both sides of it. And like I said, I never said that he didn't deserve to do it. I said that it was cool. Like, he tried, give him the Barry Horowitz clap and on to the next. That's kind of how being the fourth or fifth or sixth string tight end works.
Well, and here's another angle, and I don't know that this has anything to do with it. I don't follow a lot of sports news, which is surprising, you would think. Like, I see the stuff that's kind of sent to me when I'm looking at my news apps, but like, and this is going to be flavored by the fact that a lot of my news is from Chicago at this point, but like everything, I don't think I have heard a single story, and I don't read the stories, but I see the article titles or whatever. I don't think there has been a single story about the Bears that I have not that has not had to do with Justin Fields. And in the same vein, I have not seen a single story about the Jacksonville Jaguars that's not about Tim Tebow. B, who's the quarterback down in Jacksonville?
That would be Trevor Lawrence,
and how did he get to that team? How did they end up getting him?
He was the overall #1 pick.
So the biggest spotlight in all of football really should be on this kid. And I'm sure there's still stories about him. I'm sure people are still focused on him. But instead, the big part of what people are hearing about and reading about and talking about is Tim Tebow. Now, that's not to say that people don't think anything about Trevor Lawrence. They don't think he's great. They're not going to be keeping an eye on him. But as the #1 overall pick in the premier position in football, it probably took a bunch of the spotlight off of him, so he didn't have to focus. He didn't have to deal with all of that to some degree. That alone is kind of a win,
Right.
So I think there's a lot of angle to it, but again, the reason that I put this in the list to talk about is really because I know there's a lot of things that I wish I was chasing, a lot of dreams I wish I was chasing, and I'm not like Tim Tebow just saying, I'm just going to fucking do it. I don't care what anybody says. So big ups to him.
That's fair.
Melodious Mouse says he's from a state where you may hear about some Lamar Jackson guy. He hears he's pretty good. He's not bad.
Well, yeah, I hear that he's pretty good. So.
Let's talk about my OnlyFans, B.
All right, so
link TBD.
Christopher's favorite website is making some changes that may or may not make Christopher's life more beneficial. So, OnlyFans, which has more than 130 million users, largely for adult-oriented subscription fan pages, announced that it will ban sexually explicit content this fall. The UK-based company said it is making the changes to, quote, comply with the requests of our banking partners and payout providers. In a statement, the company said as of October 1st, OnlyFans will prohibit the posting of any content containing sexually explicit conduct in order to ensure the long-term sustainability of the platform and to host an inclusive community of creators and fans. So, what they've said is that creators will be allowed to post content containing nudity as long as it is consistent with the acceptable use policy that prohibits content featuring public nudity that is recorded or broadcast from a place where public nudity is illegal. So, My take on this, and I will give you the short 30-second take, and then I will let you, Christopher, go off on this because, now you can't just go out into the middle of your street and lay down and take a picture anymore because that'd be considered public nudity.
I can still
But
do it. I just can't except put it on OnlyFans. That's all.
that's true. But this to me is that ZE.
Oh,
Zeke Elliott, feed me of the week. They just looking for that money, man. They want those banking partners. They want their credit card money. They don't want some bank to be like, oh no, I can't put this on there because it's a girl doing something that she ain't supposed to be doing with another adult on there. We can't have that. That's all this is. It's interesting, and there was a lot of backlash that I saw online about this from folks who called themselves quote sex workers, and they said, this was a place that was inclusive for us, and now that we've helped them build their brand, they're basically kicking us off the platform.
got just one word for you, B. Bitcoin. That's it. Bitcoin. Just go to Bitcoin. Fuck all these other banking partners. Just use Bitcoin. It's decentralized. You don't need the fucking banks. They can go fuck themselves. That's what I say. Let's be honest. I have never been to OnlyFans. I don't think I've ever been to that site. But we all know kind of what the reputation is that it has, right? A lot of people posting pictures of themselves in no clothes. I don't know exactly what the sexual explicit conduct is. I don't know if there's people like making porn on this site, but it seems like that's the stuff that it's saying isn't going to be allowed. It's saying that nudity is still allowed, but it also says as long as it's consistent with their acceptable use policy, which they say they're gonna tell more about that in the coming weeks. So
yeah, which they can change at any point.
Right. So let's be honest. What this very well could be is, hey, we're gonna throw this out here and see how big of a fuss people throw, and then we'll decide how we're going to adjust it, like what we want that to be. So already I'm seeing a lot of people who are just going to other sites. They're like, fuck you, we'll go to a different site then. They're going to lose a crap ton of money. I mean, a ton of money. Now I understand why they need to do this, right? It's because they want to get more funding. I don't know why they need more funding, but that's what they're trying to do is get more funding. And then the people that are, doing the bank stuff is saying, we don't want anything to do with a site that has adult content. But yeah, to your point, Mouse, there's a lot of other platforms. People are going to Art House or House Fans or something. I don't know. There's a bunch of other ones that people are going to. And that's just what's going to happen is people are just going to go to a different platform and they're going to leave you alone.
Are any of those platforms on your link tree?
No, not yet. But here's the thing, like, I'm sorry. Maybe it's because I'm a cheap bastard. Maybe it's because I'm weird. I don't know, but I'm not going to go on OnlyFans and pay some woman $20 a month so that I can see some naked pictures. It's just, that's not my thing, right? Like, I can see naked without paying $20 for it. That's all I'm saying. But some people are into that. That's some people's thing. And, there's a streamer out there, Amaranth. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Who's gotten in all sorts of different trouble, right, with Twitch, and she does a lot of weird things. She pushes boundaries. She came out on some show, said she makes over $1 million a month on OnlyFans. Now, am I part of the people that's paying her $1 million a month? No. But she's an adult, and other adults want to give her money to see her body without clothes. Who the fuck cares? Like, let them do that. They're freaking adults. Like, I don't. Well, it just irritates me. Like, just let people. They're not hurting anybody, for fuck's sake.
This is again kind of. I think this, in some ways, kind of, and this isn't a direct thing, but it always reminds me of the. We want you to work in this way and only in this way, right? Like, people want it to be where if these people want to show their body, they've got to go to this place and work for the man and do it in a strip club or do it wherever. You can't just go and be your own entrepreneur because, we don't want you to do that because then you're not working for anybody, right? Like there's another subset of people who are all about that too.
Yeah, so Mouse says they probably prefer the interaction and control and it's more personal. Yep. But you're paying for a kink at that point, kind of. So yeah, if you're referring to like the audience people, I think that makes sense. Like it's much more of a personal interaction as opposed to let me just go to Google and type in girl with big boobs and then click the image button and see all these pictures, right? It's somebody that you, at least in your mind, have kind of a relationship with. I mean, you really
Right.
don't, but in your mind you kind of do. And people play off that. And is there a little bit of what's the term that I want? Like manipulation? That's not quite the term I want, but is there a bit of that there? Sure there is, right? There is to some degree. Are there some people who are taken advantage of one way or another? Sure, maybe, but like they're not hurting anybody. Let them go make their money. You
It's
know?
supply and demand, right? If somebody wants to pay for this and whatever part of their cup that it fills, let it fill their cup.
Yeah, yeah. It's just again just trying to. I don't know. I don't even know what I want to say. It's just irritating. Like let people do their thing. That's all I'm
Yep.
saying.
hmm
All right. I guess I'm not starting an OnlyFans now.
Oh,
Let's
that's
talk about the
bad.
Brewers, B.
Let's talk about your Milwaukee Brewers. So, as you all may know, the Milwaukee Brewers have won 10 of their 13 games since August 10th and had a 7.5 game lead in the NL Central heading into this very podcast. This week could be interesting, as the only team presenting a realistic threat to the Brewers in the division is the Cincinnati Reds, who the Brewers host for a 3 game set this week. Milwaukee has benefited from the resurgence of Christian Yelich, who has 16 hits and 45 at bats in his last 10 games. The Brewers have also withstood some injuries, with Tyrone Taylor going on the injured list and Eduardo Escobar joining after leaving a recent game with a hamstring tweak. Even after all of that, the Brewers are checking in at number 5 on MLB's most recent power rankings article. So, Christopher, we're headed into September, or as we around here in Wisconsin like to call it, Craigtember.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the Milwaukee Brewers?
I mean, they fucking suck. No, they're I haven't gotten to use that quote in a while. The Brewers look good. I mean, I just want to remind everybody that I was 100% correct when I said that they would win 60 games all year. They're at 76 games right now.
I mean, Z Dubs is looking real good right now because
he
Z
is.
Dubs was like out there and like on top, and obviously like Freddie Peralta's injured too, so they've got
Yeah,
some
they've got
injuries,
some
but
stuff to work through.
it seems like a lot of these, knock on wood, are going to be more like short term if they can kind of hold the ship for a little while
Yeah.
here.
Well, here's the thing
They,
though, is outside of the pitching staff, which is insane, like pretty much top to bottom insane. Like you look at that lineup and you're like, how are we winning any games? Like how are we scoring more than like a run and a half a game? And there's a couple individual guys that you can see, like Willie Adames, I'm sorry, was a huge pickup. Like, the guy's been insane. Narvaez, as much as I really don't like the guy, has been really pretty solid. I mean, he's dipped off since he was super, super hot coming out of the gate. Avisail Garcia, if I'm saying that right? Avisail. Has been insane. He's been really good. And then we got Yelich, who's actually starting to hit a little bit. So now the lineup is starting to show a little bit of pop, which is good. Excuse me, which is good. Because if that pitching keeps going, like that pitching alone could carry them to, deep into October. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I feel good about it. I feel good about the team. I mean, I think the playoffs are almost a given at this point. Whether they win the division or not, we'll see. There's still a lot of good teams in the National League, and of course, the
yeah.
Dodgers bought everybody under the sun. So
Mhm.
it's always going to be David versus Goliath with those guys. But yeah, no, I'm feeling good about it. What about you, B?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very interesting. I was explaining to one of my coworkers today, I was like, the Brewers strategy is kind of working in the sense that they tend to have, 10 to 15 guys who are like the core guys who are like, these guys will be on this team all year. The other 11 roster spots that start the season with us, that's essentially a taxi squad.
Yeah,
Like everybody is up for grabs, right? Because if we look at how this roster has turned over, basically it's been that way. And every night there's a new hero, whether that's Rowdy Tellez or Luis Urias, or the pitching staff comes through and you've got Boxberger and Devin Williams and Hader and all these other dudes that they randomly pull up from AAA for a hot minute, and then they send this guy back, then they pull up another guy. Like, that's their strategy, as weird as it is working. Like, here's Pablo Reyes, here's Jace Peterson, here's insert name of random guy that has had 30 MLB at bats here. Like, they
Right.
just it's all kind of that, like, smoke and mirrors, but it's working.
Yeah.
And I was listening to, and this was so fascinating. I was listening to David Stearns and Bob Euchre the other day, because Stearns was in the booth with Euchre for like half the game. But Stearns was kind of talking about that philosophy, and he's like, like, the first time we send a guy down, it's pretty hard on them, and they like don't really like get it. And then, like, as we talk to them and like as they experience it, it's like, okay, so we're sending you down. You might be down for a month. You might be down for your 10 days, and then you're back.
Uh-oh. Lost B again. I think B disconnected.
Like,
Oh, there he is.
Hello, where did you last lose me?
You might send them down. They might come back in 10 days.
Yeah, they might come back in 10 days, but like once they're in the shuttle, like they know that they're going to have that chance to contribute. They're going to have that chance to like relax and then come back and things like that. So
Yeah, I
it's
think
really a good strategy.
Yeah, I think, I don't know all the ins and outs about roster management in MLB, but for those who know less than I do, you basically have a 40-man roster. And that 40-man roster are the people that you can move back and forth between leagues, assuming they have options, which basically means that you have the ability to move them between leagues. And then your actual major league roster is what, 26 people? So what most teams do is they've got a 26-man team. These are our 26 guys. And yeah, they'll occasionally move a guy here or there. Someone slumps, someone gets hurt or whatever. Whereas the Brewers' philosophy, the way that I see it, is they are playing with a 40-man roster. They are playing with 14 more men than any other team because they will move people left and right depending on what they need. I mean, there's times where they'll bring somebody up, have him pitch one game, send him right back down. We just needed someone for that game. They're using that 40-man roster as their available roster, as opposed to just looking at it as a 26-man roster, which is incredibly unique. It also really kind of lends itself to Craig Counsell's abilities really well, which is he generally is pretty good at finding the right guy for the right time, as long as his name isn't Jeremy Jeffress. And that's working. It's working to the tune of 76 wins or something so far. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be a Brewers fan and a Milwaukee sports fan, or Wisconsin sports fan altogether.
Yeah, and Old Man Wiggum asks, can we still get our season tickets? The answer to that is no, because the Brewers have excommunicated us.
Yeah, that's true. But that's a different story. All right, how long? Where are we at on time?
We are at 7:43, which means we're probably around
40 minutes. I'm spinning.
40 minutes. All right.
We only got 3 left, B. So let's talk about the COVID op-ed.
Oh, this is your favorite topic. And do you have our GIF ready? I hope you have our GIF ready.
Oh no, I don't.
All right, well, you work on that while I read about Anita Sarkar, an infectious disease physician in California. This op-ed was published by that individual in the LA Times, where she says, as a doctor in a COVID unit, I'm running out of compassion for the unvaccinated. This individual says further, the burden of this pandemic now rests on the shoulders of the unvaccinated, on those who are eligible to get vaccinated but choose not to, a decision they defend by declaring that it is a deeply personal choice. But perhaps never in history has anyone's personal choice impacted the world as a whole as much as it does right now, when hundreds and thousands of people continue to die, when the most vulnerable members of society, children, cannot be vaccinated. The luxury of choice ceases to exist. So you put this in here, and I feel like you have a very unique feeling about this. So instead of me talking first, I'm going to let you talk first.
I don't know how much I want to talk about this publicly to
I
show
mean,
how much of an
you
asshole
can
I am.
you can just direct people to the YouTube and have them look at the GIF that we now have on our screen.
Yeah, it's so here's the thing, and I kind of talked about this when we were talking about the Afghanistan thing. I am at the point where, and this might apply to people in the audience for all I know. Sorry, not sorry. This is a disease that is killing people. Period. Right? It is a situation where decisions people make can and is impacting other people. It is a situation where people are making the cognitive decision with no real reason. This isn't a kind of to your point, Mouse. This isn't a you know what, I can't handle the vaccine, or I have really bad reactions, or whatever the case may be. This is people who, for whatever stupid boneheaded reason, are saying, I'm making a decision, I don't want to do it. Generally for incredibly selfish reasons. You are making a decision that is and can and is causing other people to get sick and die. Or you are causing other people to get sick, who are getting other people sick, who are causing, people to die, whatever the case may be. So here's the thing, and I know this makes me an asshole, and I'm okay with that. But as Ivan Drago says, I don't care if you die now. Like, there's all these stories, and I know I'm an asshole, but there's all these stories about, the 70-year-old guy who was a conservative radio host, and he kept talking. Or what about that politician guy? Where was he from? Like New Mexico or something?
Like Texas.
He's a politician who's just railing on all his social medias about how the vaccine is horrible and you can't do it. And so he is, not only is he making the decision personally for himself, but he is also helping to form opinions for other people and pushing people to not doing what at least in my opinion and the opinion of a lot of people's and pretty much every doctor in the country are saying is the right thing to do, which is to get safe and to help other people be safe. And so if you get sick and on your deathbed, you're saying, oh my God, should have got the vaccine. I'm sorry. Fuck you. I don't care. Now, do I feel bad that his wife and his 3 kids or however many kids he had are going to be without a dad or a husband? Yeah, like the kids shouldn't have to suffer because you're an idiot and you're an asshole. But I'm sorry. I don't have a fuck to give. I just don't. Because you are making a cognitive decision. If it was you, right? If it was this one person and this person lived out in the middle of nowhere all by himself, then that's fine. If you never went into the city and you just stayed out there by yourself and you never saw another person, fine. Do whatever the hell you want. But the problem is all these people are having an impact on other people.
Well, and I'm kind of reading the chat, and that's kind of what I want to get at too. So one of the things that I am thinking about here is how people interact with the world around them, right? Because what we often find, and obviously there are outliers, are folks who say, oh, well, I'm not getting vaccinated. I don't believe it. I don't think, those folks. Those are also the folks that are going out and taking these high risk chances, right?
Yes.
So to Mouse's point, somebody who says, I'm concerned about the vaccine due to my previous history with vaccines. My guess is that if that individual is taking that concern seriously, that person is also not out there taking these high risk chances to catch the virus, right? If we're talking about the things that old man Wiggum's talking about, people who have medical exemptions, people who have medical exemptions who are working with their doctor closely, it's likely that those people have been recommended by their medical professionals not to go out and take these high risk chances, right? So, like those people who are following and thinking about the needs of other people, I'm okay with that because these are the people that are thinking about the needs of other people. What frustrates me is the people who go, I'm going to do what I want. You can't take away my freedoms. I have the right to do this. I have the right to go out. I have the right to not wear this mask. I have the right to not get this vaccine. But oh, now I caught COVID. And it's your job as a nurse or it's your job as a doctor to fix me and to make me better and to make sure that I don't die. Now, do your job. That's the kind of thing that I have a problem with because that is just a selfish internal mentality where you're only thinking about you,
So
right?
I have to cut in really quick. I want to make sure that I address what Mouse put out there, but I first have to talk about this amazing meme that I saw today. It might have been yesterday or the day before, but it was basically, hey, if you keep saying that you're not getting the vaccine because God's going to protect you, then when you get COVID, don't go to the hospital, go to the church. And that, you know how I feel about religion. Anyway, what Mouse's question is, how do you feel about people who have in the past had violent reactions to vaccine? They'd be willing to, but if they thought that this was safe for them, but they've had bad reactions in the past. And I think, so first of all, you have to, if you've got a legitimate medical reason that this may be a hindrance to you, that's a different story. And I think the thing that Brian talked about is, how do you handle that situation? Like what goes around it, right? So if your friend has had really bad reactions to vaccines in the past, what are they doing to keep themselves and other people safe? Are they wearing a mask, double mask, staying out of the place, ordering their groceries in instead of going out to the grocery store, not going to see, the latest concert that they're all excited about, whatever the case may be, right? Like if they're doing those things, I find it hard to fault that individual because they're doing what they need to do to keep themselves safe, keep other people safe as best they can. The bigger issue is the people who are, being very, very out and about and proud and screaming about from the top of their lungs that I'm not going to do this and this is stupid and spreading false information. And they're the ones that are going to the rallies without wearing a mask. Like these are the kinds of people that I'm talking about. I have zero concern for you.
Right. And these are the people that'll like show up sick to work because they're like, oh, it's fine. I just have a little bit of a cough, but, let me sit next to you in this cubicle. And, like, again, people who are just taking that decision and turning it into this selfish thing, right? Like everybody is out here using this. It's a deeply personal decision and it's a deeply whatever. What it is it's a selfish choice if this person is deciding that they want to only think about their own needs, right? Because everybody, and again, I'm generalizing here and I'm sorry for that, but many of these folks who are doing this are folks who will tell you, well, if you're scared, you should just stay home. Or if you're scared, you should just wear your mask and stay away from me. But it's like your decision directly impacts me. I don't get to stay home. Maybe I don't get to choose to stay away from you, right? Like you have to think about how your actions are impacting other people. And I think that's what we're missing here is that kindness and that mindset in this society.
Old Man Wiggum says, I am caps ranting over here and keep deleting because my rants are too long and we have moved on. Just know it's happening. Also, the bot would probably ban you if you did that, just so you know. Mouse says, I work retail. I have zero choice. Yeah, that's rough.
Right.
That's a thing that I can, I can speak from a privileged position. B can to a degree, a little bit less of a privileged position than where I'm at. Like this is my office. What you see behind me is my office. Actually, it's right over there. That's where I work every day. It's right there. And occasionally I may need to go into the office at some point. I understand I'm incredibly privileged. But it's people like you, Mouse, and that's part of the concern, right? Is when you've got those people who are, I'm not going to get vaccinated because I don't want to, and I'm not going to wear a mask because I don't want to, and I may get COVID and spread it, but I don't care. And then there's people like you who are out there serving these people or working with these people or helping these people, and now you're at risk. Even though you're vaccinated, you could still get it, right? Now, you're probably not going to get super sick and die, but you might spread it to your grandmother who maybe will. And it's because of these assholes. And you don't really have a choice, right? You can't just say, oh, well, I'm going to quit my job. You can't do that. So that's the biggest issue.
Yeah, and it's the people who then will go to the store and they'll say, this is bullshit. Why are you making me wear this mask in this store? I don't have to wear that. It's like, we need to be more kind to people. And for those people who are taking that opportunity, so I'm going to steal a phrase from a pro wrestling podcast that I listen to, and I'm going to modify it to this conversation. The way that I feel about things is that people who are kind and who, ask for something in a kind and respectful way, they hopefully will get what they want. people who are jerks will get what they deserve. So, I think that's kind of what we've come to with this situation. It's like if these folks are going to be out here and they're going to be a jerk and they're not going to think about the needs of other people, then if they have something that happens to them, just as we've talked about for months and months and months and months and months, that's not cancel culture. That's not whatever. It's accountability.
It
You
is.
made a choice. Now you have to deal with the repercussions of your choice.
Yeah. And we've talked about the, to old man Wiggum's point, it's, we've talked about private businesses and how they handle things before. You don't get to dictate that. You've tried before, and you specifically fought all the way to the Supreme Court to dictate that you can't tell businesses what to do. And guess what? You still can't. So shut the hell up. I think it's time to move on, B. What do you say?
I think so. And we will wave goodbye to Mr. Drago and we will move on to random rankings. All right. Well, today we are going to talk about kitchen appliances because, well, actually, kitchen gadgets. Our old friend Sconzi over there got a nice new shiny kitchen gadget, and it wasn't a microwave, believe it or not. But we're
Microwave.
going to go ahead and draft some kitchen gadgets. This is a very open concept draft, other than the fact that large items such as an oven, fridge, dishwasher, and microwave are assumed. We are considering items that may sit on a counter or go in a drawer. And the note that I put into this document is we'll draft until we get bored.
So really this is all about let's just have fun picking stupid gadgets that you put in your kitchen. That's basically all this is.
Exactly.
All right, well I got the screen up here because it's super cool. I love this scene. Like this is great. Whoever came up with this is a brilliant genius. It was me.
Well,
All right, so I'm going to randomize and see who gets to go first. And we're just going to pick a few. And I get to go first. Look at that. So I'm going to kind of try to pull these things up. You're going to probably see my search items, so that's kind of scary. But let's see. What do I, you know what?
Fans.
I'm not going to OnlyFans. I'm not going to pick the one that I just got, although it's good. I don't know that I super love it. But the one that I'm are we like competing? Like, are we trying to have the best kitchen with all the gadgets? Is that the deal, or are we just picking them for the hell of it? Because that's going to change.
I think we're picking them for the hell of it. Like we're picking I think that this is more of like a personal preference draft. Like, what are the items if you were building a new kitchen that you would want? And I think that we don't want to do duplicates. So like if you draft like the breakfast sandwich maker, like I can't draft the breakfast sandwich maker, but I could draft a panini maker instead.
Cool. Well, I'll save the Instapot for you because I know you want that. I'm going with the Pizzazz rotating pizza oven. This thing is amazing. All right. So how do you normally make a frozen pizza? You throw it in the oven. It's a pain in the ass. This thing, you just put it on a little rotating pan and it spins around. The top's got a little timer that you spin. It's got a heating element on the top and the bottom. In like 12 minutes, your frozen pizza is great. It's amazing. I love it. And I don't know this from personal, experience by any means whatsoever, but it's perfect for pizza rolls too. So yeah, this is great. I love this thing. It's amazing.
I don't have one of those actually. So that's
if you eat frozen pizzas, it's a must-have.
All right.
Yeah, it does. It takes up a lot of counter space. I keep mine on a shelf, like I kind of have like a pantry shelf, and I just pull it out when I need it.
All right. Well, you make sure to type that thing in there with its official name and title, but we'll have to discuss that one more later. I don't eat frozen pizza too much, but that sounds interesting. So I, as Sconzi has pointed out, would immediately go for the Instant Pot. And here is why. The Instant Pot is kind of the best of all the worlds because you can use an Instant Pot to make meals very quickly. You can also use it to crock pot. So there's multiple modes that the Instant Pot can serve, and it's one of my most used kitchen items.
Yeah, I think the great thing about the Instant, like you can do really everything in there. I would never saute in this thing. Like that's what I've got a saute pan for. I would never do that. But
I've done it though. It actually works out okay.
Yeah, I suppose. The rice cooker works great, and the pressure cooker part is the best part about it, right? Like you can. There's been times where I wanted to make something like a roast or something, and I don't put it in like before I went to work. Back when I actually went to work, like you can come home, you can throw a roast in there, and like an hour and a half, the freaking thing is done. It's insane. Don't choose a garlic mincer, or Mouse is going to judge you. B, just so you know. All right, I'm gonna choose. I could have saved this one for last because I know that B's not gonna get this. I don't even know what to call it. When I was looking for it earlier, I said Hot Pocket Maker, and it found what I wanted. Well, that's kind of it. Let's just pull this thing up. This thing is so amazing. This is like the exact one that I've got. So if you like Hot Pockets, get you one of these things. So you basically just take a piece of bread. You just make a sandwich, basically. You put whatever you want into it. You put it in this little, it's basically like a waffle iron, essentially. And it puts a crust around the outside, around the outside, around the outside. And then it, warms up the stuff inside. It's a waffle iron for Hot Pockets. That's exactly what it is. So you can do whatever. Like you can put cheese and pepperoni in there and some sauce to make it like a pizza thing. Ham and cheese is one that I've done a lot. Like I haven't used this in years and years, but it's super cool and it's pretty handy.
Nice.
I'm just gonna call it a Hot Pocket Maker. I don't know what the hell it is.
All right, so I'm gonna be real boring, and I am going to go with the Ninja Coffee Maker.
Ah, okay.
So for those of you who picked up a pandemic habit of drinking coffee at home, the Ninja Coffee Maker is pretty fantastic. You can do warm coffee or hot coffee. You can do cold coffee. You can do over ice brew coffee. You even have, some models. I don't have the little frother guy, but some models have the little milk frother guy on it. So it's pretty awesome if you like to make your own coffee. And honestly, I kind of like my coffee better than I like the coffee that I can buy at stores.
Nice. I am going to get a panini press, which I got as a gift, I believe, from UB, if I remember correctly. I think for Christmas or something. I don't know. This is basically what I've got, something like this. It's great for a couple of different things. So first of all, also a silicone egg ring is so helpful. Perfect egg discs all the time to make breakfast sandwiches. Oh, interesting. Okay. So the great thing about the panini press is you can make paninis, right? So like just something simple like ham and Swiss and a whole bunch of horseradish sauce because I'm crazy like that. And you just press it down and it cooks both sides and melts the cheese. It's amazing. It's also good for making like burgers or something. I've made burgers in there because it cooks. It's just like a George Foreman grill, basically. It cooks both sides, so it cooks like within 5 or 6 minutes. It's great. Chicken breasts I've done in there. Lots of different things. So yeah, panini press is amazing, and it does makes for short work in the kitchen, which is a good thing.
Nice. So now I am actually not necessarily going to take a gadget, but I'm going to take a kitchen item that's very helpful. You need your block of...
Oh, we lost B for a sec. George Foreman for the win. B wants a block. A block plot for sale, I guess. That's what he wants. No? Is he back? No, we lost him completely. All right. Well, we're going to give him about 10 seconds and I'm going to pick again because he's gone. He must be having internet problems because I don't think it's me because my stream seems to be good. I think it's just him. I had 2 other ones on my list, so we can talk about them. We won't necessarily draft them. So I've got this. Is it like Perfect Egg Maker or something? This was okay if this is the one that I'm thinking of. Yeah, this is mine's not a double decker like this, but Himalayan salt. Ooh. What kind of, this makes hard boiled eggs. Well, they're kind of boiled, but yeah, hard steamed eggs basically. The thing that I like about them is It's first of all, it's kind of weird because you use a little pin to pierce the egg, which I would think the egg would shatter, but it hasn't yet, which is great. This one apparently makes omelets too, which is interesting. But the cool thing is the one that I have, at least, it comes with this little plastic cup. And yeah, exactly, mouse. So the plastic cup has lines, and what you do is you fill the water up to however done you want the eggs to be, and then you pour it in the very bottom of it right here. And then when you turn it on, it just runs until the water's gone, basically, and then it sets off an alarm. So I always made hard-boiled eggs, and I think it's just because the way that I made them is I would go out, I'd put water on, I'd throw the eggs in, and then I'd go back to work, and then I'd forget about them, and they'd boil for an hour and a half or something stupid like that. And then I'd come back out, and they're hard eggs, right? So when I got this, and I saw soft-boiled eggs as an option, I was like, ooh, I need to try that. And I made them more medium boiled, so that the yolk isn't runny at all, but it's got that kind of runny look to it, I guess. I don't know how best to describe it. So kind of like a medium cooked egg. They were freaking fantastic. They were so good, and it's so easy to do with this thing because literally you just fill the water up to how much you want, pour it in, poke the eggs, put the eggs in there, put the top on, push the button. That's it. You walk away and it'll beep in 5 minutes or so and you've got eggs. So yeah, so that's super, super cool. I do appreciate that one. And then what was the other one? What was the other one? I had them all in my thing here. Oh yeah. You guys heard of the food saver? I saw there were some comments there I missed too. Soft boil because Easter. I want a refrigerator that makes different shapes of ice. Like an ice cube ball. Yeah, for sure. A decent ramen shop. Yes, for ramen, you definitely want it a bit runny. I'm back in the thing, but I don't see you. It shows you offline, B. So you are not there. Make sure you clicked on the right link. So here's the other one, just to keep the show kind of going. Food Saver, if you're not aware of or familiar with this, it's a vacuum sealer. Again, I don't use this nearly as much as I should, but the cool thing is this allows you to save stuff really, really long time. Hey, B's back. So I'll continue describing this one, then we'll go back to B. But the one time, I haven't used this much at all. It was a purchase that I probably shouldn't have made. But the one thing that I did do is I bought, the grocery store had beef tenderloin on sale, which is basically filet mignon, right? Is that the right word? Yeah, filet mignon. So what I did is I just bought like 2 or 3 of these beef tenderloins. I sliced them up into individual fillets. I wrapped them in bacon, stuck them in the bag, and just froze them. I am not doing sous vide, but that's another great point. This is perfect for sous vide, which I've never done, but I've always been interested in, and that would probably be another really good gadget too. All right, so Emily made a guess as to what you were going to say, B. So what was it? And we're going to see if she's right.
I was just going to go with having a very nice set of kitchen knives, like your block of kitchen knives, because that's very important. Whenever you're trying to cook, you want to make sure that you have the right knife for the job, whether you need kind of that big knife or you need one of the ones that's kind of like shorter, but it can kind of slice and get the job done, or like your steak knives, or even like your cutting scissors for like cutting meat.
Yeah, that's
Those are
good.
very important to me.
That is not what Emily guessed. But
What did Emily guess?
a block of Himalayan salt. And now she's sad. Way to go. You made her sad. So while you were gone, we talked about the perfect egg maker thing that I just picked up recently-ish. And then the food saver bags, which I want to get used to using. What I need is a bigger freezer, though, because my freezer is not very big, and I've kind of maxed out its capacity. I might as well pick the thing that I just bought, right?
I was going to pick that if you didn't.
So I bought this egg sandwich maker. I don't know if it's this one or not. Mine's a double one. It's this, but it's 2. This is the one I got. So this thing is weird, and I only used it once, and it worked pretty good. So what you do is on the bottom here, you put like the bottom of the English muffin and some cheese, and then I got some Canadian bacon, right? So you put that on the bottom, and then you take this middle one and you drop that down. Now you have to make sure it's preheated, because if it's not preheated, your eggs are too runny and it runs right out the side. But you put that down and you put your eggs in there, and then you put your the top of your English muffin right on top. And then you just close that puppy down and you turn the timer on. I think I did 5 minutes, but I probably need to do like 4.5 next time.
Yeah, four is the sweet spot for that.
4, okay. And then it beeps and you come and you use this little slider right here, and you slide that over. Wonder if I can. Yeah, I can't. Let me do this.
Yep, because basically what
Right here,
happens is when you slide it, the egg goes bloop, and then you can pick it up, and then boom, you've got a sandwich.
Yeah, so this just slides right out, and the top falls down to the bottom, and then you lift this whole thing up, and you got a sandwich.
Is very hot.
Yeah.
Very hot.
Can the eggs be scrambled first? Yeah, you could scramble them, absolutely. Scramble them and then pour it in there, for sure.
I mean, you could, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to try that one next. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that guy because that's kind of an interesting guy.
Yeah, the scrambled might be a little tough just because it might get a little like weird and liquidy and like seep through because it's not like an airtight seal between the bottom and the top. So
I don't see that it'd be any different than a regular egg in there though.
Possibly.
I don't know. We're gonna find out. Maybe tomorrow.
All right. Cool.
We'll find out. All right, B, what are you gonna go with?
I am going to go with the good old-fashioned stove griddle. Because every once in a while, you want to make something on that griddle, kind of like that big like iron griddle, whether that's going to be making waffles, whether you want to make some meat on there, whether you want to, again, the griddle, you can use it for a lot of things. You could even create your whole breakfast on there. You could make some eggs on there. You could make some meats on there. You can make some waffles or pancakes on there, probably more pancakes than waffles because waffles need the little thing, but I definitely have a good use for that nice grate.
So what do you mean by a stovetop griddle?
So it's kind of like a cast iron stovetop griddle.
Oh, like this thing.
Yeah.
So it's just a cast iron plate basically that you just put on the stove.
It's huge. It could cover like the whole top.
Sure, but it's basically this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. You can use the microwave if my microwave's working. All right. Let's do one more. Let's make it an even 5.
Okay.
A wireless KitchenAid hand mixer. Is that like the baking stuff? I'll totally go with that, even though I don't own one because they're super freaking expensive.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna take the KitchenAid as my last one if you didn't take that.
Like, I don't have one. I've wanted to get one because I actually do kind of like baking. Oh man, Wiggum, you got one of these? Because you should have one of these because you bake. Sorry if I'm ruining a surprise, but yeah, like I've always wanted one of these things, but they're just so damn expensive. I've never gotten one. But man, have you ever tried to like make cookies by hand and mix them up and shit? Like it sucks. It takes you 45 minutes. Your arm falls off. You have to screw it back on. Man. But it's not what you were thinking. I don't know what that means. Okay. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this guy because I don't have one, but I really want one.
Nice. So I'm gonna have to dig deep here, and I am going to go.
Hand mixer. What is a KitchenAid hand mixer?
All right, I'm gonna go with the double barrel toaster. So not a toaster that can make 2 pieces of toast, but a toaster that can make 4 pieces of toast.
Oh boy.
Because you know what's helpful? When you and someone that you live with both want to eat immediately, you don't have to make 2 pieces of toast and then wait for 2 more. You can just make 4, and it's amazing.
Nice. Okay, I need you to explain what the hell you use this thing for, Emily. Like, what the fuck? Is this like for like mixing up scrambled eggs? Like that takes 2 seconds. You mix it up with a fork. Like, what am I missing? It's just a regular hand mixer, like for cake dough and shit, or cake batter. Oh, all right. Yeah, I don't want one of those, but you guys can have one. You use it for everything. It can make pasta. Okay, all right, fine. Be that way. Well, I'm going to get the big one, damn it. Except I'm not, because it's $500. And stands up on edge. That's the important part, right? Stands up. Looks like a pitcher of water or something.
Right.
Okay, I can get behind that. I can see. You know what we should have put on here, B?
What?
I'm gonna switch scenes really quick so I can surprise you with it.
Is it a margarita maker?
You know what, B? Go fuck yourself.
What happened?
Yes, it's a margarita maker. Of course it is. Look at this thing. Yeah. Dude, I totally should get a margarita maker. This has got like 3 different kinds of margarita in it. This is insane.
Nice.
Yeah.
You can have that in the new projector room that's coming.
Ooh, projector room. That's right. We got a projector coming. I say we. I've got a projector coming. Very excited. By the way, I bought throw pillows today, and I kind of hate myself for it. Anyway, I think we're done with random rankings.
Why did you buy throw pillows?
Because, like, do we really want to talk about this on podcast? Does podcast people care? I guess I already
They do
opened the
care.
door. I opened the door.
They care about us.
So here's the thing. My living room is very brown. Like, the carpet's brown, the silverware, the furniture is brown, the curtains are brown. The entertainment stand is black, but it's kind of brownish. I got a record player in there. The record player stand, guess what color it is, B? It's brown. Everything is brown. So I'm like, I need to color this up some. Now I do have, I just got this new print that I put on the wall, also brown. I do have some paintings that'll go up behind the TV or above the TV. My living room is from the 70s. It doesn't look like the 70s. It looks nice. It's just all brown. So the paintings I'm going to do above the TV, not brown. That's very colorful. I've also got a print coming that's going to be on one of the wall. That's very, very kind of graffiti looking. So it's very bright reds and blues. So that'll help. But then I was like, you know what? I need a couple throw pillows just to add some color to my my living room. So that's what I did. I picked up a couple throw pillows. The reviews on Amazon and all their throw pillows were stupid. So I went to Target because I figured I could trust them to give me something good. So I got kind of a turquoise bluish color and a goldish yellow color, which just so happened to be Brewers colors. So it kind of works. And from what I found online, blue and yellow complement brown. I even did my homework. So there we go. I did not get brown throw pillows. No,
All
blue
right,
and yellow.
well, that is your random rankings for the day. And we'll move on to Sconzi. Well, I suppose it's my extra point because you already put the extra point thing up there for
I beat you to it.
You sure did. So, extra point this week. The only thing that I have for you, loyal viewer, loyal listener, is I followed through on my declaration of last week. When I told you, hey, I need to take action and apply for this thing, I did. I don't know if I'm going to hear back, but I at least did the thing, right? Like I was saying to Sconzi, and I'm not sure if I said it on the podcast or in one of our 74,000 other ways that we communicate, but I can't say that I want to make change and do other things if I don't take the action step to make the change. So I did that. So that's good. There's lots of change in our world. Change is the only thing that is a constant, which is kind of funny, but that's kind of how life is. And I want to encourage all of you to embrace the change that will fill your cup.
Well, that was sweet, short, and to the point. So I'm gonna feed into a little bit. I'm gonna say goodbye to Mouse. Thanks, Mouse, for stopping by. See you, man. I'm gonna feed back into old Tim Tebow, right? Who chased his dream, even though people said it was a stupid dream, and maybe it was a stupid dream. I don't know, but it was his dream, and so be it. He chased it, right? I have found myself lately, fucking always, if we're being honest, but lately, very introspective, very much thinking about my life and what I'm happy about, and probably a lot more about what I'm not happy about, what I need to change, what I want to change, what I want to be doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's important, as much as it's important to find those things that you want to be different, and as important it is to chase those, just like what B's doing with his thing that he's doing. It's also important to be grateful for what you have and who you are. And that's something I have not been doing at all, because my entire focus has been on what's lacking, what's missing, what do I need to change, what do I need to do different. Now that doesn't mean there's not stuff that I need to change, because I absolutely do, but I also need to be more grateful for the things I have. I mean, for fuck's sake, I own a house, at least for a month or two until I can't pay the mortgage anymore. Then they might take it away. But I own a house for the first time in my life, which is amazing. You know, I got good friends. Got you all here, you know, listening or watching the podcast, which is cool. Allows me to do something that I really enjoy. And there's a lot of things to be grateful for. And I thought that I would take this extra point to remind myself of the importance of gratitude, and remind myself that tomorrow, when I'm smoking my cigar before dinner and before stream, instead of thinking about all the things I need to change, I need to think about all the things I'm grateful for. And this is my my note to be that, hey, make sure you shoot me a message around 5 o'clock tomorrow and ask me if I'm thinking about what I'm grateful for, because I'll probably forget. That's the goal, and that's what I've got this week.
Sounds good. Well, now that you have heard us talk about all of the things on our wheel, now that you have seen how unreliable blank, blank, blank internet is, we will tell you where you can find us. You can find me on Twitter at LandmarkMKE. You can find Christopher on Twitter at Sconzi. You can also find Sconzi on Linktree, OnlyFans, Amazon Sidewalk, and any place near you where you want to engage with this content, including on Twitch, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. You can also find us, Almost Qualified Productions, on Facebook, Twitter, and anywhere that your heart desires. So, Sconzi, before we bid the folks adieu tonight, do you have any other words of wisdom, thoughts, feelings, concerns, issues, challenges, or other motivational speeches for our lovely audience?
Nah, man, I got nothing.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you. We appreciate you, and we will see you or talk to you next week.
Bye, everybody.